All right, heads up. Northeast, severe thunderstorms may develop here in parts of the Northeast from Saturday on into Sunday. I know I have outdoor plans on Sunday, hoping that we can get through the weekend. It's going to be tricky. A cold front will track northeast on Saturday. Scattered storms are expected. A few could be severe. Cooler conditions to follow this system on Sunday. No thanks. Severe thunderstorms are expected to fire up in parts of the Northeast Saturday night. Currently, right now, as we speak, cold front moves through the region. Hot and humid conditions will combine with the approaching cold front to create enough instability to result in formation of thunderstorms along and ahead of the front. Happening now, showers and thunderstorms are rumbling across parts of Pennsylvania and also the mid-Atlantic and also southern Canada. Right now, just south of Pittsburgh is getting pounded pretty good. Let's go ahead and take a look at windy too while we're at it, guys. This is our current conditions. Go ahead and refresh this just to make sure we're getting the most current conditions. And yeah, it's just south of Pittsburgh is getting pummeled with storms. Eastern to southeastern Ohio, you're starting to see some storms now as well. Spotty showers out near Richmond, Indiana. Nothing looking too serious. Got a lot of lightning on the border of Indiana, Illinois, but mainly upstate New York above Lake George and further. Getting some heavy showers as we speak throughout New Hampshire. Massachusetts, you're in the clear for now. Hartford, Connecticut, also clear. Moving down a little further south, looking at Atlanta. Some showers and thunderstorms approaching. Now we got storms in the northeast moving southeast, and we got storms in the southeast moving northeast to northwest. So we got two low pressure systems spinning around. Dallas just had a heavy dose of rain and lightning, but boy, the lightning strikes near Dallas. Houston, you're expected some shower activity as well. Let's go ahead and zoom in here and check out what kind of lightning some of these storms are producing, especially here near the Dallas area. And boy, it is lightning up. Waco, Texas, you're right smack dab in the way of this coming storm here. Lots of lightning near this area. We'll find out if we had any reports of power outages or any structural damage due to these highly charged storms that we have right now. Let's get back to our weather report. Stormy forecast. Strong to severe storms are likely into the evening into tonight. Damaging winds and gusts are the primary concern, but large hail and an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. I think they have to put that every weather forecast because that's what it just feels like. The chance for severe storm stretches from western Maine to northwest or to northern West Virginia and eastern Ohio. However, the greatest risk of severe thunderstorms is in the area from Washington, D.C. and central Pennsylvania into southern New England. So talking about those two systems that we were just looking at up here near Pittsburgh. Go ahead and move this up. Sorry, folks. This is one area of concern tonight. Moving into West Virginia, into Virginia as well, near the D.C. area. And then, of course, upstate New York, where we are seeing much stronger storms in Burlington, Plattsburgh, parts of Indian Lake should expect showers soon. This is all staying to the north so far of upstate New York, like the Albany capital region, but it does appear that we will see some shower action later this evening. All right, so let's go over to GFS real quick. Take a look at the outlook. Here's Sunday. This is overnight tonight. The area gets inundated with showers in the northeast. Nothing heavy, nothing too concerning. I think most of the day we stay dry in New York until the late evening hours as we move into overnight into Monday. And that's when the rain will finally clear out of the northeast into Monday. Some more storms and showers developing on the backside of this in Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, areas that don't need the rain, but we'll get some more. South Dakota, Wyoming, Denver, looking at some shower action. This is July 1st. So just the atmosphere constant. Look at that. In 2 days, the same area right here. And I'll put my cross right there. Watch this area. This is Monday, July 1st. It goes away, reemerges by the 2nd. It's almost like the atmosphere just reloads the same areas that had the storms and showers. So watch out, Colorado, Kansas, Northwest Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota, parts of Iowa, as these storms die out overnight Tuesday into Wednesday and kind of get a little bit more strength on Wednesday, July 3rd. Very rainy in southern Florida. Let me move this up so y'all can see that. Gulf Coast, Louisiana, also expecting shower activity. More heavy rain on the Mexico-Texas border. Showers move back into the Ohio Valley by July 3rd and on July 4th. Lots of rain across the Midwest, into the Northeast, across the Atlantic states. And by Thursday evening, for the most part, I think the fireworks probably should go off without a hitch. We do see some scattered rain showers across the Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, but nothing really heavy, nothing serious. So the rest of the country, Montana, some showers, North Dakota, Minnesota and South Dakota with some showers, but the rest of the country is going to remain pretty dry. So I think the forecast for 4th of July evening, let's take a look at our temperatures while we're here. Pretty warm, pretty normal, except for the Northwest. You guys are struggling to be in the 70s in certain parts. Montana, 59 and 57 degrees for the daytime highs into the evening. So this looks like a pretty decent 4th of July forecast for the bulk of the country here. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, even with the rain, you're still looking at temperatures in the mid-80s or even higher. All right, let's go back to our precipitation forecast, and then we'll move on to some temperatures also. We're just in next week, guys. July 5th, more rain, reloads in the same locations. Here's this area that we always can see almost on a weekly and daily by daily day, where the straight line of moisture from Mexico to Canada reoccurring. South Dakota, Nebraska, more rain for you. Ohio Valley, more chances of rain by the weekend of after 4th of July. Those chances continue on Saturday for most of the Midwest. Right there in smack dab in the middle of it is Oklahoma, Kansas. Again, this is not saturating rains, but we are still getting these chances of spotty, and there are pockets of heavier showers to fall. Like, let's take a closer look. We got some pockets that are producing 4 to 6 inches of rain possibly in North Carolina. In this area right here, we've seen lots of flooding here already. Rain that we don't need to see over in this area as well, near the Mississippi, all flowing downhill. So the pattern still remains rainy, and this is what concerns me. Crops, where they need 3 weeks of dry weather. And this is a 16-day outlook, and we aren't seeing that. We are tracking a low-pressure system around mid-July that shows some signs of development right around the Jacksonville, Florida area. The low pressure initially starts in that region and then kind of drifts off the coast by the 13th, right here. Watch it kind of intensify as it goes off further into the Atlantic, right there. Now, believe it or not, the waters are warm enough right there to support any kind of action, but this storm is going to continue to tread to the northeast. And folks, I can tell you right now, those waters are a lot colder. And again, look here on the 15th of July. I just showed you the same exact pattern of moisture. Now it's a little bit further back west, but that same line going across from Canada to Texas to Mexico. Moving ahead, July 15th, 16th. So our GFS outlook is not giving us no more than 3 dry days in a row in particular areas that need to be able to work in the fields. Every other day, there is a chance of rain in our United States farmlands. Ohio Valley, Kentucky, Tennessee, the South, Texas. I mean, even New Mexico's got a good shot of getting some decent rains over the next few days. That's not really the rainy season period. Weak disturbance in the Pacific heading up towards the Baja region too as we get close to mid-July. So we've got a system in the Atlantic and a system in the Pacific, but both of them look like they fade away or weaken as we get closer to mid-July. So right now, other than Alvin, we don't have any tropical action right now. Let's take a look at temps real quick. What are they going to look like? It's July. Let's hope it's hot, right? Looks good for the Midwest and the Central Plains. 80s. Some of them are low 80s. Look at Kansas, 97 degrees on July 5th. We definitely start to feel like summer in the areas that should feel like summer. Good news. But Montana and the Northwest, and then we got a cold front that just kind of drops down on July 7th. Yeah, July 7th. I didn't mean to yell, but when I see something that excites me in the wrong way, it kind of gets my voice modulated. Daytime highs on July 8th. The temperature is dropping throughout the day in the Ohio Valley. July 8th, high of 70 degrees near Toledo. Solano, Ohio, Bellefontaine, 70. 69 in Strongsville near Cleveland. Asheville. 66 in Indiana and near Chicago, 70. Upstate New York, 68 degrees. July 8th. Plenty of heat in the Southwest, no doubt. Big heat wave, but that's the Southwest. That's the desert. It's supposed to get hot, middle of July. Daytime highs for July 8th, 80s. Sorry, guys, I was reading the wrong temps. Those are the lows. That didn't make sense. Still cooler, though. Still cooler across the mid-states here on July 8th. 72 degrees in Illinois is not normal for them. They're a lot warmer than that on July. Same with Ohio. Mid-70s across southwest Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, it's 76 degrees. Moving forward into July. Some chilly nights in the northwest. You can see where that next cold front is. States like North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, parts of Nebraska. Look at that. 70 for your high on July 10th. How's that for your crops? Iowa, 66. And then you can clearly see that line where the cold front is here, where that extreme heat and summer heat is trapped here. And right here, we're staying cool. 2 reasons. Rain is one. Flooding is the other. And of course, these cold fronts that are coming down here in the summertime, middle of July, I mean, that's normal, right? But Weather Channel did say this area right here was going to be cooler than average for the month of July. And up here in the East Coast, we're going to have slightly above warmer temps across the coasts. And the same thing in the West Coast as well, up and down the coast. Across the South, pretty much right where this line is right here, we're going to see constant heat. So big giant smiley face, basically. Weather Channel put this out, by the way. July 11th, still much of the country dipping down in the low 60s as lows for mid-July. High temperatures, July 12th, July 10th. Look at this. 77 degrees. Northeast Ohio, 76 in Des Moines, Iowa. Wichita, Kansas, 79 degrees. That's not warm. Not for July 11th. Jeez. I'm just looking at these temperatures here. Much in the United States, I mean, the South, the Southwest, you're getting your heat. And then we got this region across the middle of the part of the country, too, where those storms fire up. Makes sense. But Sunday, July 14th, those were daytime highs right here, guys. 71 degrees in Pennsylvania, 72 in upstate New York, 74. Again, Ohio, north of Columbus, you guys are going to stay in the mid-70s. And that's hard for you to believe right now because you're talking about 90-degree weather right now. Finally, by mid-July, we start to see summer rearing its ugly head again in the south, still staying in Texas and the southwest and California. But again, July 15th, middle of Kansas, near Hays, Kansas, 73 degrees. Norton, Kansas, near 75 degrees. Low 80s in Nebraska, mid-70s in North Dakota and South Dakota. Iowa, mid-70s. They are not getting the sufficient heat these farmers need, folks, on top of the moisture that we're getting as well. So the crop report would be okay if we had a lot of dry weather on the way. But that's not the case. That's not the case at all. Let's take a look at, let's see, let's go to Europe. Let's say hello to everybody in Europe real quick. Guys over there across the pond, we love your support. Thank you for tuning into this channel. You guys looking at some rain relief, hopefully after this big old heat wave going into the first month of July. Pretty relatively dry across the UK. Some showers on the 7th, moving across France as well. And really, I wouldn't say it's as active as the United States, but we do start to pick up moisture patterns towards the middle of July. Let's see what we can see about their temperatures here, as Starman keeps me pretty updated. looks like things kind of start to go back to normal around the beginning of July, and then cooler temperatures prevail. Staying hot in Spain and Portugal, parts of France will warm up again towards late week of the first week of July, but relatively staying pretty normal across Europe, what is now experiencing a pretty hot set of days back to normal temperatures as well for the UK, Denmark as well. But again, we go from extreme of super, super hot to back to normal or slightly above normal for July. So we know there's two parts of the world right now that are looking at normal to below normal temperatures for the month of July. Let's go over to Australia, take a quick look at the moisture, and then we'll take a look at your temperatures as well. I'll just go ahead and push play on this. A high pressure system parked right in the center of Australia, keeping you guys dry for the most part until we get to around July 4th, and just a storm off the coast that will affect the southwestern, possibly the southeastern part of Australia. But really the southwestern coast gets hit a couple times going into mid-July. Other than that, staying pretty dry in Australia for the first 2 weeks of July. Let's take a look at the temperature anomalies. Unfortunately, I don't have a map that will show us the actual temperature readings, but still we see that divide of cold in the western part of Australia, even parts of the southeastern Australia that's usually a subtropical climate. We are seeing some colder air moving in later in July, almost mid-July. So guys, lots going on. Like I said, last summer, I remember, and here's a look at the temperatures too, by the way, just so you have the proof. El Nino is below baseline. The North Atlantic is struggling to be at 2 above baseline, 0.2 above baseline. But what I was saying was that last year in the summertime, I think Mari and I had to scratch and scrape to put up content for a show last summer at this time. This year, it's off the charts. There's so much going on. We don't get to cover it all, and sometimes we undersell certain stories because we want to get other things included as well. So I don't think there's any disagreement right now with the idea of a grand solar minimum starting now. From what we've learned, from what we know about cosmic rays and how Zarkova's work is matching everything right now, I feel pretty confident about what's ahead. What I don't feel confident about is if we've done enough to protect ourselves as individuals and a society. These next 3 to 5 years could be seriously rough on our pockets, the economy, and some starvation could be possible if we continue to see these lousy conditions for planting. Last year was a late planting. It was a little later than 17. This year is a lot later than 18 and a lot more scarier. And you're hearing it now in the farmers' voices. You're hearing it in these agriculture podcast hosts, and you're hearing it in people that are doing these reports. They're not sure. Their voices are shaky. It's time to take notice, folks. Mari, you want to come over here and tell everybody hello and yes, welcome any newcomers tonight? It's been a pretty decent show, I think, for a Saturday night. We usually don't do Saturday nights, but we had a few things we wanted to discuss tonight.
I got some stuff in the way here.
Awesome.
Been moving stuff. How you doing, Jake? You did a good show tonight.
Thirsty.
Well, I'm here. We have lots of people in the chat. We've had people discussing all sorts of things. We have Ian and Starman, Rain. Matt Bros came in a little late. He didn't hear your shout out.
Thank you, brother, for everything. Your footage, your comments. He's explaining to me what soil armor is. So I really appreciate all the input you're giving us.
I'd like to thank Daniel for super chat. He is in Palm Springs. And let's go through what we got here. Matthew Phillips says every day is a victory. If you can just do a little prep, whatever you can do is a small step to make bigger steps. I really like that, how he said that. That's a great attitude. It is sort of scary getting started into prepping, and it is true, just a little bit by a little bit each day, and that's how you get started. Kid Meteorologist stopped in.
What's up, buddy?
We love him. an aspiring meteorologist. We just love him. He is looking at, I believe, Invest 94E, 90% chance to form. And he says it looks like the GFS is saying it's going to hit near Hawaii.
I saw that system that he's talking about. And, with El Nino dying, the wind shear is going to be less. He could be right. We'll have to wait and see.
You have to watch that. Thank you for talking about that in the chat. TSM, we love you, David Birch.
My brother from another mother.
You have no idea. Anyway, he was saying that you can fish with hemp seeds, and I was like, "Are you crazy?"
Good.
And I'm like, "How? Hemp seeds are so small, and basically you just throw in a bit in the water to sort of bait the water, I guess." To get the fish to come and then throw your line in. Clever, huh?
Yeah, I did not know that.
Interesting. Thank you, Starman. See, he's not just about the sun and stuff. Look at that. He's a fisherman. I never knew that. All right, let's see what else I got. Michael said, why did that USDA report sound like something out of George Orwell's 1984?
I'm telling you.
I mean, true, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of scary that they can actually put a report like that out and expect us to believe it.
Oh, they just, that's great, 92%, all right.
Considering they put out a weekly report.
Right.
And if you can read, it's very clear we're in a dire situation right now. And I just don't believe it. It's just unreal to me.
And they want to make us wait another month to reevaluate. It's like, like I said, hug a farmer. If you know a farmer, hug them. They need a hug right now. They probably need money too. So what else you got there, Mar?
Minnesota farm checker, corn is looking decent in southern Minnesota.
Good to hear.
One of the owners he works for tried to help a guy who was losing his farm, and he wound up killing himself.
Oh, jeez.
So that is absolutely horrific to hear, but that is the reality in this farming industry. Farmers are probably one of the top.
Not just here either.
No, this is worldwide. India is
the
awful.
Worst. Yeah.
Like India, I hear of farmer suicide all the time. Yep. It is just heartbreaking. It is not an easy profession to be in, being a farmer, and it's such a important role in humanity to have farmers that provide food. We so much take for granted our farmers, and it's just heartbreaking for me to hear that farmers here in the States are that low, where they just would rather take their lives. It's so sad. And I'm afraid that's not going to be the last one, that we're going to see more of that, unfortunately. Awful. I know I'm like a Debbie Downer now. I feel like that's it. No. Watcherman on the wall says, try growing Chicago Hardy fig. Hers are going very good, and they grow outside and okay in the winter. So that's interesting. People were talking about what store is good, what's nutritional, what they like, what they don't like. There's a lot of people who like honey in the chat. So honey is very nutritional and stocks well, stores well. Stock up on that. Stock up on what you can. Michael McEwen also said he drove through Illinois and into Indiana. The corn looks anemic. It's light green and sickly. There was another person, it was Howard. He has corn all over in Virginia, and it's 6 foot tall and everywhere. So that's some good news. We love hearing that. Yeah,
that is.
So I don't know. There's so many people in the chat. I'm sorry if I'm not giving you a shout out right now. It's a lot to take in right now. It's busy in the chat. So thank you all for joining us. Please like and share this. It's hard to get the information out. I do a search on Facebook to see where our information's being shared, and it's hard to find us around. I don't know what it is, the algorithms or what, Jake.
Mari, thank you, by the way, for your report. And
anytime, Jake.
Thanks for keeping everybody sane and behaving themselves. And I want to leave tonight, before we leave, make a quick comment too. I saw a couple people who are asking about the sunspots. Do you just throw them out the window now that Zarkova comes out with this paper that she has? And the answer to me is no. Sunspots are still part of this theory, this tracking of weather events and what's going to happen with our solar cycle. Just because we're focusing on the magnetic fields of the sun doesn't mean that sunspots all of a sudden are just thrown out the window. A weaker magnetic field from the sun produces lower sunspot counts. A stronger sun's magnetic field produces more sunspots. We still use that correlation of more sunspots, more heating, less sunspots, less solar activity, obviously is cooling. So I thought I'd end the night show with that explanation. Because I see that question a lot in our comments, and I don't think that means that we don't look at sunspots anymore. We do. We still follow that. We still are going to keep track of that trend. That's not going to change. Again, if you haven't read the paper, we have it linked on our website. Mari is going to have Valentina Zarkova's website up very soon. It will be attached to our website, and you will be able to view Zarkova's work and where she came up with the theory, how she came up. Everything's going to be on this website. But so we encourage everybody, if you've read the paper, read it again. If you've read it twice, read it a third time. I'm still working on it my second time through right now, and I'm going to read it a third time. There's so much going on in this paper that there's no way that any of you out there could absorb every bit of information on the first time through. Point blank. Mari's got something else?
I'm going to also drop a link in the chat in the description. David Dubine has a book that he released.
Thank you, Mari.
So I'm going to go ahead and put that out. It's called Climate Revolution. It's his ebook. It's just another tool about the grand solar minimum to get the information out. David has spent years with his research.
Adapt 2030.
He's a wealth of knowledge. He has charted this throughout history. So I encourage you guys to check that out, and we'll go ahead and I'll put the link in the description for you guys to definitely support his work and his book.
Thank you, Mari, for I thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm telling you, without Mari, I don't know where this channel will be. We'd probably be talking about baseball. So thanks again, Mari. Again, support Adapt 2030, David Dubine, his new book. We are dropping the link in the chat right now. But for those of you who just tuned in, for those of you who tuned in for tonight's show tonight, thank you very much for your support. We appreciate your time, and we hope you got something out of the video. Guys, we'll be back live Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, with another live update of Grand Solar Minimum News, and we'll hopefully get you to start solar updates once again on Monday as well. It was just a busy week last week with the Zarkova interview and the editing for that, and just jam-packed full of information. And guys, since the interview, we keep finding new revelations about what's happening, and things just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're going to be here for it to report the entire thing for as long as we can. That's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Thank you for tuning in once again. Please like and share. Subscribe to our channel. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and of course at thegrandsolarminimum.com, our official website. Until next time, folks, we will talk soon. Have a great weekend.